Yo, what's up, guys? Good morning to everybody. This is a remake of the video I did earlier. Um, it was talking about that labels. I think labels have too many standards on it. Basically, to me, I think that people put too much emphasis on telling you who you should be, or you're so much worried about how society should tell you how to be than just being yourself. Um, as far as meaning that this stud, femme, straight, gay, bi, pansexual, asexual, it's all labeled, all titles. If I pick up this cup, it says Zaxby's. Zaxby's is it's the name of the company. It is the title of that company. It is the label of what it is. Of the restaurant. The same thing with people. People feel like they need to have labels too, so other people can identify who they are. I don't understand that. Whatever happened to just saying you are a dominant female? If you dress in men clothing and you feel comfortable and secure in men clothing, and you might want to wear a fitted hat and some Timbs, or maybe you want to switch it up and then put on some heels and some pumps, then you're not considered to be too much of a dominant, um, or I guess a stud or whatever. The whole label thing. Um, the femmes can't be. I don't get it. Femme, just because you dress feminine doesn't mean you're always going to want to be feminine. You might want to be tomboyish. There is too much emphasis and too much standards to me on these labels that people need to have to identify who they are walking through the world, and especially in the LGBT community. I don't understand it. Just because you look kind of tomboyish and you carry the dominance of a man does not mean that you need to say that you're a stud. Stud was what men were called. You are a dominant female. You need to uphold your womanly parts of who you are. If you are a female, that is what you are. You are not a man. You're not trying to change yourself. If you like the girly parts of you, then that is what the statement you are. I am an aggressive female who likes to be comfortable in men clothing. You don't need to have a label from other people giving that to you to say who you are. If you're feminine, okay, yeah, we can tell you're girly. I don't get it. Just because you look girly, you're attractive, a feminine female doesn't mean you need to be called a femme. If you look girly, we know you're a attractive, feminine woman. That is what you are. You don't need to say, oh, I'm femme because I like to wear it be girly. It doesn't mean that you're always going to be wanting to be feminine. Femmes be using this thing like these labels, and studs be using these stud labels like it's needed. It is really not needed. If you walking through today's world, back then in days, your name is what you were born with. Your name is what your mama, your father gave you. Your name is what carried you through the world so people can identify who you were. Not this, I'm a stud because I wear this. Maybe you want to wear feminine clothing. And people will sit up here to say if you're a stud that, oh, if you go by that label, then you cannot dress a certain way. You cannot act a certain way. You cannot show that you have a soft side. Why? Because the world says that you are, um, because the because people around you say that you're a stud. You're not a man. You know, you are an aggressive woman. You are a feminine woman. You don't need to have a label to say you're feminine. We know, we can tell. People see that. But my thing is, in this lesbian, gay, trans, bisexual, straight world, there is too much emphasis and too much standards on who you are, or that you should identify with this type of label. My thing is, I'm a grown man. I carry myself as a grown man. When you see me walk through the world, you look at me as a grown, mature man. That is who I am. My name is Qamari. That is what my title and my label is. My label is what my parents gave me, and that is when I was born. I am Qamari. Who am I? I am a Qamari, a grown man. I don't need no emphasis to say that I'm an FTM. I don't need no emphasis to say I'm intersex. I don't need all them labels because I don't need no standards on my back. People cannot tell me who I am. I tell myself who I am. My mother and my father told me who I was to the age of 18. After that, you tell yourself who you are. You label yourself your name. That is who you carry. That's who you are to carry yourself through the world. People sit up here and think that they need these little teeny labels to identify who they are so people can understand who they are when they walk through the world. But in society's world, we didn't have all that. Back in the days, you didn't have that. Your name was your label. Your name was your title. You know, female is what you are. Your name is your label. Sitting up here thinking that you need a label because you walk through the same world and the same streets to identify yourself out to people who don't care about you, don't really care anything about you, that you feel like you need to have that type of title because you want other people to know what you are. Why? Why can't you just be a civilized black human being or woman or man or whatever, and don't need to feel like you need a title so somebody in the world can tell you who you are? If I walk down the street and somebody approaches me and they say, well, that's a stud. I'm not a stud. First of all, I'm a grown man. My name is Qamari. Qamari Simon Williams. I identify myself as a grown, mature man who is in touch with his masculine, but in touch with his feminine side. Does that make me less of a man because I'm in touch with my feminine side? No. And if I have a label on it, a lot of y'all just feel like, oh, automatically I can't be soft. I can't show my significant other side of myself, my feminine side of myself. And a lot of y'all lose yourselves in these labels and these titles, and you forget who you are. People don't need to know who you are just to walk through the world. You need to know who you are. And if you feel like you need a label to identify who you are, then you're not in touch with yourself mentally. You might be in touch with yourself physically, but you're not mentally. Because nobody in the right mind needs a label to identify who they are. Too many standards on these labels. You can't do this if you're this way. You can't do this if you're that way. Says who? I think you need to step out of the box. You're the one who categorize yourselves, and it makes yourselves be small. And that's all I gotta say. To Mr. New 29, thank you. I haven't seen you in a minute, and it was a pleasure to see everybody that responded to the other video. But this is the new video. This is the remake. Labels equals too many standards. Wake up, America. Wake up, LGBT community. You're the ones who put yourself in your own category. Peace.